Olson and Kotek, members of the committee. My name's Debbie Berkeley. I'm from Beaver Creek, Oregon, Clackamas County. I represent the personal side of this story. First, I want to thank you for hearing this bill. It's important to me and many others to have your support of this bill. Passage will allow me to keep my farm, my home, and keep my business here in Oregon. I'm here today representing the sport of dog agility. I'm one of numerous instructors here in Oregon. I'm also a victim of land use interpretation that has resulted in the closure of my business, and it threatens me losing my own home. My husband and I have lived in Oregon all our lives. We currently reside on 9.82 acres in Beaver Creek. It's zoned EFU. We moved there in 1994 to pursue a family horse training business. When the kids grew up and decided horses were no longer a part of our activities, we decided to look for something different to do on our farm. And that's when we found dog agility. Well, our property is ideal for the sport. We have large grassy pastures, plus we have a covered horse arena. It wasn't long before I had classes going, and I needed to look into business permits and licensing. So I hiked myself down to Clackamas County to inquire about what was going to be necessary, and the clerk that helped me, very nice individual, said that there was nothing about dog agility in the ordinances that he could find that it would allow it as a permitted use. But he also suggested that there was nothing there that specifically prohibited it either. And he suggested that I just simply operate. So I did. I set up a business. In the 13 years that I've been teaching, I've been paying all the appropriate taxes. I keep responsible business records. In 2009, October of 2009, I received a letter from Clackamas County stating that I was not allowed to do dog agility on EFU-zoned property. And when I went to inquire, I was told that it originated from an anonymous complaint. This was not a nuisance complaint from my neighbors. It was not a code violation. It was just simply someone went down to the county and reported that that's what I was doing, and they had to act on it.
I haven't been here that long, just 3 years, and nothing frustrates me more and saddens me more than the state of affairs around this issue. That any Oregonian who simply wants to run a dog agility business has to come down to their state capital and ask permission from the state government to run that business is so symbolic of what is wrong in this state. We seriously need to ask ourselves questions of how we have gotten to that state where somebody has to come down here and beg their state government to let them run a dog agility business on their farmland.
Thank you, Representative.
And for what it's worth, and it's worth very little, Deborah, I apologize to you that it has come to this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative. We are trying to balance all kinds of uses on this land, and while this is a complicated process, I think you're advocating well to get what you need, so hopefully we can resolve that.
Thank you, and I appreciate everybody's testimony, and I'll direct this at you, and please don't take it the wrong way. You happen to maybe be the messenger today. You might have heard the testimony earlier from the property owner, and now we've heard from the cattle folks and the sheep folks and the farmers that they're okay with this. How do you feel when you hear a property owner so upset about not being able to use their land, and then coming up as a state agency and suggesting that the bill's not quite right yet? I'm just kind of curious.
So, Representative and co-chairs, I'll say two things. One is I'm part of my job, if you will, and part of the department's job, and part of the responsibilities that the legislature gave the commission and the department is to look at the broader picture of protecting farm and forest lands, commercial farm and forest lands. Secondly, I will say I personally put in a lot of time during the interim to try to resolve some of these issues and was very comfortable with a lot of them. And part of what I'm here reflecting to you is somewhat of a technical issue. I have to represent the department and the commission has on the books that kennels are not allowed on high-value farmland. I wasn't part of that process. I don't know who testified, what the arguments were, And I'm additionally saying that the way that LC chose to essentially override the commission's rule is something that I find a little troublesome on a technical basis. So on the whole, I understand what people are saying and kind of support that. And yes, things play out differently for issues, whether it's aggregate or using dogs or anything else, and I'm sorry that in some cases, some people are on the wrong end of that calculation. But in this case, I'm trying to represent as best I can the commission and the department and some of the other issues that I've reflected to you.
Thank you.
Well, the longer this goes on, the more parts of my soul start to die.
Representative, do you have a question?
He has a soul?
It's really more of a statement. You know, the quickest way for a government or an agency to lose all credibility with the people is to lose sight of the fact that we do this for the people. We're not here for the state of Oregon, we're here for the people of Oregon. And, boy, at some point, you know, we have to factor that in. And I think an average Oregonian listening to this hearing would just be pulling their hair out as to why we even have to have a hearing for somebody to be able to run a dog business in Oregon. So I'm really hoping that we can work out the details of this as quickly as possible and get it off our plate.
Thank you, Representative.